Hey everyone, Nina here from nb&ns, and it is Thursday, which means we are here doing our free training. And today I'm going to be talking about Instagram stories. And I love Instagram stories. If you don't follow me on Instagram, make sure you do. We are nb_and_ns on Instagram. Make sure you follow us over there. I do Instagram stories all the time. So let me know if you are here joining us, and let me know if you use Instagram stories. I know that a lot of people are afraid to try Instagram stories, or they're not sure how to use them. So today we are going to talk about that. So before I get started, I do want to talk about why I think you should be using Instagram stories. And one of the reasons why is because, Facebook owns Instagram. And whenever I see Facebook making improvements on a platform or a certain feature on that platform, it means that they want people to use it, and they're going to start favoring people who use that. So I have seen recently that Facebook has been making a lot of improvements on Instagram stories, which tells me that they want people to start using Instagram stories. So if you haven't started using Instagram stories yet, you definitely should give them a try. If you are using Instagram stories already, that is great, and keep doing it. So what exactly are Instagram stories? So if you sign into Instagram and you are on your phone, and on the very top, you see those little circles. And you can click on them, and they have images and videos. You are limited to 15 seconds, but you can have multiple 15-second videos stitched together. So they are short little videos. You can use photos. I even like to use graphics from time to time. Canva actually has a great template that you can design your own Instagram story graphics in there. And that's Canva, canva.com. It's a free tool that you can create some amazing graphics with. So I really, really love Instagram stories. They disappear after 24 hours as well. So when you post an Instagram story, it's only going to be there for 24 hours. It's short-term content. You can actually now save your Instagram stories to your highlights on your profile. Now, I like to save stories of things that I get asked often. So for instance, I often get asked what my Facebook Live setup looks like. So I actually did a behind the scenes Facebook Live Instagram story, that's a mouthful, and I posted it to my highlights. So if you go to my profile on Instagram, you can see those highlighted stories there. So they give them kind of a longer life. So I would recommend saving stories of things that you get asked often, or maybe you do kind of a nicely produced Instagram story and you want to save it for people to use later. So they disappear after 24 hours unless you put them on the highlight section of your Instagram profile. So why do I love Instagram stories? Well, one of my reasons that I love Instagram stories is for the reach that they get. So Facebook announced recently that I think there's like 150 million people interact with Instagram stories every single day. And I actually think that number is higher since they announced that. So that is huge reach. And just to give you some perspective, Pinterest has 150 million users total. So 150 million people are watching Instagram stories every day, and there are 150 million people total on Pinterest. So the reach that you can get on Instagram stories right now is incredible. Now, I believe it's been about a year since Facebook rolled out Instagram stories, and I'm actually just seeing more of an adoption of Instagram stories. Tell me in the comments if you use Instagram stories. I see Ashley says she just started using the highlight reel. But let me know in the comments if you watch Instagram stories or if you use them, or both. I am a huge Instagram stories fan. So the second reason why I really love Instagram stories and why you should be using them is the top of feed position. Now think about that. On Facebook, we are all competing to show up at the top of people's feeds, right? We are working on learning that algorithm and producing beautiful content so we can show up in the top of feed position. However, Instagram stories, you get that by as every time you log in, those Instagram stories are right at the very top. Where else can you get top of feed positioning? So that is another reason why I really love them. Now, Instagram, as I said, is owned by Facebook, and I have started to see what I believe is an algorithm being implemented into Instagram stories. I don't think they had that going at first, but I am seeing that. So if you aren't posting on Instagram stories yet, start now so you can start learning and taking advantage of the algorithm before it gets harder and harder to get that top of feed position. Now, the third reason that I love Instagram stories is because Facebook has rolled out Facebook stories. So you can automatically post a Facebook story when you post an Instagram story. There's a setting in your settings section that you can say to go ahead and share it to your Facebook stories when you are posting on Instagram stories. Now, why I love this is, again, a top of feed and exposure that you get from doing that. So I'm sure you have seen when you log into Facebook that you see some Facebook stories up there on the top. So a lot of people aren't using Facebook stories yet. And so that's another way that you could kind of get more reach and more attention and more engagement on your content, is by cross-posting your Instagram stories to your Facebook story. So I see that a couple people watch and post on Instagram stories. That's awesome. Do you guys watch our stories? I post stories almost every day because I love Instagram stories. Okay. Another reason why I really love Instagram stories is because they're a really great way to connect with your audience in a different way. Because with Instagram stories, you know, it's kind of like the raw and real stuff. You know, they are not as produced, although sometimes I do produce some nice ones, and I'm going to show you some examples of those later. But it's a great way to kind of connect and see the behind the scenes of the people that you follow, their lives, and what they're really like. Because we all know that we need to build that know, like, and trust factor. And by showing kind of the behind the scenes of our businesses, thank you, Renee. Renee says she loves our stories. That sometimes I think I'm an overshare on Instagram stories. Like, I try not to go too crazy. But they really help you with that know, like, and trust factor, because it's going to help your audience with another way to connect with you. So that's another reason I love them. And then again, engagement. Engagement is another reason why I love Instagram stories. And that's because the traditional Instagram feed works similar to the Facebook news feed when it comes to the algorithm, which means engagement is super duper important. And when people watch your Instagram stories and they swipe through and they send you a message or they hold it down to read it, that counts as engagement. It also means that if people are watching and engaging with your Instagram stories, that tells the algorithm that those people are interested in your content. So then it is more likely that your Instagram posts are also going to show up in their newsfeed. So if you post on Instagram stories and people are watching them, it's going to help give a little bit of a boost to your Instagram posts, okay? Because the Instagram posts are subject to an algorithm, okay? So use Instagram stories. Those are the reasons you should be using them. Now I'm going to talk about exactly what Instagram stories are and how to create them. And if you guys have questions as I go through this, please put them in the comments below. Even if you are watching this on the replay, I do always come back and answer questions. Okay. So like I said, when you open up Instagram, the Instagram stories are the ones that show up on the top. You can actually also navigate to Instagram stories if you go to somebody's profile, and you can click on their profile image and you'll see their latest Instagram story. Or if they have a highlight reel, you can see the stories that they have highlighted there. Okay, I'm going to take a quick sip because I've been talking a lot already. So like I said, you can choose. So the rule on Instagram stories used to be that you could only share content that you created 24 hours ago from your photos. So when you go to your Instagram story and you're creating a story, you can swipe up and you can choose a video, you can choose a photo, you can choose a graphic that you have saved on your photo reel or in a file on your phone. In the past, like I said, you could only share stuff from 24 hours ago, but now Instagram lets you basically choose anything from your photo reel. Did you tell us yet? How do you create the swipe up to learn more? Charlotte, that's a great question. So you have to have 10,000 followers to get the swipe up to learn more, unless you advertise. So you can actually create an Instagram story advertisement, and then you'll get the swipe up on that advertisement only. But otherwise, you have to have 10,000 followers to have that swipe up. So go follow me because I want to get to 10,000 so I can have that swipe up. I know we all do too. So drop your Instagram handle in here. We can all go follow each other and help each other get to that 10,000. Okay. So when you go into your Instagram stories, you can swipe up and it will let you choose a photo or a video or a graphic that you have saved to your phone. And you can post it to your Instagram story. And like I said, it used to be content from 24 hours ago. Now you can choose any photo or video that you have saved on your camera reel. However, Instagram is going to put like a date over when that content was created. It'll have a date. However, like when I first saw that, I was like, oh, that's kind of annoying. You can shrink it down. So just pinch your screen. You can shrink that date down and hide it so people won't see that date anymore. So that is a change that they made recently. So once you have selected your photo or video that you're going to post on an Instagram story, you can do a bunch of fun things to it. So I'm sure you've seen on ours that we add text over ours. There's different fonts you can choose from. You can add GIFs. You can add stickers. There are all sorts of things that you can add as an overlay to your Instagram story. And actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and show you real quick an example of one that we did. So let me pull this up and then I'm going to share my screen so you can see that. Just give me a second here. It's not the one I want to show you. I have a bunch of files I want to show you guys. Okay, here we go. All right, drop it over my screen and I'm going to show you an overlay that we did. So, okay. Let me make this bigger so you can see it. All right, so this is one that we added text over. So this image is from our Content Assist membership this month. And so I saved that photo onto my phone and then I uploaded it to my Instagram story and added this text over it. And so you have several fonts that you can choose from. You can choose colors to change the font color. You can actually grab a color and it will match it. So if you have some branded images, when you bring up the little ink pen guy, you can say, hey, copy this, and you can change the text to match your brand colors, which is really cool. So you can see we use two different fonts here. These are both fonts that are provided through Instagram, and it has this, I like the neon font, I think is my favorite font, but it doesn't always work for everything. So that's how you can add text overlay. And like I said, you can add images. They just added GIFs. There are all sorts of really fun things that you can do with the tools that Instagram provides you. So lots of fun stuff there. All right. So let's hop back in. Just going to pull up. So like I said, once you post it, you can hit share to your story. And after a second, if you have connected your Instagram account to your Facebook account, then it will also give you the option to go ahead and share that Instagram story to your Facebook story. Now, I tend to not share all of my Instagram stories to my Facebook stories. I tend to only share the ones that are a little more polished because I feel like on Facebook, it warrants to have a little bit of a more polished story. So I don't share them all, but you can choose. Kyle's saying my business account doesn't have the font options yet. Yeah, I've seen that a lot of people still don't have them yet. I've even seen some people don't have the GIFs yet. My recommendation is if you don't get the features right away is to uninstall the app and then reinstall it and see if that helps. Sometimes that helps, sometimes it just doesn't. Usually when, they are rolling out these different features and things, they roll them out slowly. So not everyone gets them. Okay, so the great thing, you can edit your, oops, sorry, I lost my place here. All right, and then like I said, so your story will disappear after 24 hours. Now, Instagram will give you stats. Sorry, I was just reading message. Okay, see you later, Ashley. We always leave the replays up of these so you can check out the replay. All right, so Instagram will show you how many people have viewed your story on the bottom of your story, which is really cool. So you can kind of track who's viewing your content, who views your content the most, how many people viewed it, if they skipped or things like that. People can interact with you by clicking on your profile on the top right of, or on the top of the story, and they can send you a direct message. So there are several ways that you can encourage people to interact with you. So if I do a video, I will often say, send me a DM and answer this question, or click on my profile and I have a link that will take you to whatever it is that I'm talking about. So if we have like a webinar, or if we have these type of trainings, I'll say RSVP via the link in our profile. So I will tell people what to do. So make sure that you always add a call to action to your Instagram stories, to make sure to tell people what you want them to do. How do you want them to take action and interact with you? All right. So let's talk about 5 examples of Instagram stories that are going to help you sell. I'm just going to bring this up here. All right. So the top 5 kinds of Instagram stories that I recommend to help you sell: behind the scenes content. So people love to see behind the scenes content. I posted on Instagram about this the other day. We all like to see how the sausage is made, and it also helps you build that know, like, and trust factor with your audience, which is how people decide to purchase from you, because they know you, they like you, and they trust you. And we have to build that in order for people to want to buy from us. So I share a lot of behind the scenes of my life. I share, things like my Facebook Live setup. We're remodeling our bathroom, and so I shared that. So I share little tidbits of my life so that people can either relate to me if they're my ideal client, or not if they're not, because we've talked about before, it is okay to attract the people that are your ideal client and repel the people who are not, okay? So sharing behind the scenes content will help you create that relationship and solidify that relationship with your customers and your potential customers. So some ideas for some behind the scenes content. Like I said, I show, how I take photos. I show how I set up my Facebook Live videos. You could show how you're packing up orders if you send out products. I know we have a follower who she makes printed decals and things like that, and she'll show when she gets in her materials. She'll show how she makes it. So people love to see that stuff. You could record your morning or evening meal prep or routine. You can record, show a portion of your morning workout or your morning routine, a book that you're reading. Or I really like to post boomerangs that show like I've done a little boomerang that's like, here's my list for the day, or something like that. So those are really fun too. And I see a question from Charlotte. Any chance you know why one of my Instagram accounts won't let me share Instagram stories to their Facebook page stories? I'm an admin on the Facebook page, but it gives me an error message telling me I can't connect because I'm not an admin. Charlotte, I'll have to look at that. So let's connect and I will help you figure that out. It could be maybe they have a business manager set up and it's not connecting that way, because sometimes if there's a business manager set up and you're an admin on the page, sometimes those don't talk to each other. So we'll look at that. Okay. So another way that I like to use Instagram stories to sell is to use graphics to tell a story or to show a tutorial. So like I mentioned, you can use Canva, that's canva.com, and they have some great templates that you can use to create some graphics on Instagram stories. And I really like to use that when I want something to look a little bit more polished. I posted one the other day that was 5 ways to use Instagram better. There were some tips and tricks there. So I talked about them, and then I created a list that people could screenshot. So I like to use graphics for that. I love tutorials on Instagram stories, and I have an example of a tutorial that I did. So again, be patient with me while I pull up my images here. So I'm going to switch screens again so you can see how I did a tutorial. And I do tutorials that show kind of how to use Instagram features, just because I teach digital marketing and my audience wants to learn digital marketing tips and tricks. And so I like to show them different posts there. So let me get that. All right. So this one, I was showing how you could move your filters around on your Instagram settings. So if you use a particular filter all the time. And so I took screenshots of every single step in the tutorial. And I do this for a lot of different Instagram features. Like I said, most of my audience are business owners who want to learn how to use social media, and they are on Instagram. So it's relevant to them that I would be teaching them how to use Instagram. So in this particular case, I screenshot all of the different steps that it takes to use a different filter and move your filters around to use your favorite ones. And you can see here that I did the text overlay. So I talked about each step there. And then I used the little arrow graphic to kind of point to what I was talking about. And here's how I started the Instagram story there. Again, this was just the text that Instagram stories lets me add to that. So I really love tutorials for Instagram stories. You can do all sorts of tutorials for whatever kind of business that you have. So think about the different kind of things that you can teach people on your Instagram stories. And then one of the things that I like to remind people that I really take to heart is to document instead of creating, because I know how stressful it is to create content all of the time. And so if you just document things that you're already doing on things like Instagram stories, especially because they don't have to be as polished as maybe a Facebook Live or a video that you're posting. So, just document as, if you're fulfilling an order, document the steps. If you are, making a recipe with your oils or something like that, document it as you do it. And then that way you're creating content through something that you're already doing anyway. So an example of that is one day I walked through my entire day of a Facebook Live process. So I started in the morning about what I do to prepare, and I talked about what I do after the Facebook Live. So think about, are there processes in your business that you can just, shoot a quick video or take a quick photo? So you're just kind of documenting instead of having to think about content that you need to create. So some ideas that you could do is you could share a recipe, and maybe you make the recipe, and then at the end, you create a graphic with the recipe on it that people can take a screenshot of and keep. You could create a Mythbuster series, a true or false story about your product or your business. Or you could, after you talk about your product, you can list your inventory prices in an end graphic. So there's a lot of different things you can do there. Something else that I love to use Instagram stories for is to push people elsewhere. And so when I do Facebook Lives like this, I will often do an Instagram story that morning that says, hey, I am doing a Facebook Live on this topic today. Hop on over to Facebook and join us for that. Or if I have a training or a webinar, I will often promote it through an Instagram story. So remember to cross promote on your different channels. So, push people from Facebook to Instagram, from Instagram to Facebook, and so on. So make sure that you're cross promoting. You could do a product feature. So I've seen a lot of people do this where you can just do a quick feature on your products. Now, I really like to remind people that let's make sure that 80% of our content is helpful and valuable and not always about our products and services. And then 20% are those promotional pieces. So if you have that 80-20 balance, and then you can go ahead and feature your products. But I don't, want you to be only featuring your products on Instagram stories, because we need to build that know, like, and trust factor. And we do that by adding value and being helpful. Something that I really like, there's an Instagram account for Anthropology for their personal stylists. And every day they post Instagram stories and they're featuring their products, but they're being helpful. So what they do is they pick 3 items, and then they show 3 different ways to style each of those items. So they're featuring their products, but they're doing it in a helpful way that I find valuable. So yes, they're featuring their product, but I don't feel like it's pushy because, I probably have a striped dress in my wardrobe. Then I can repurpose it in different ways, but then maybe I want to buy that striped dress that they're offering. So remember to always think about how you can present things in a helpful and valuable manner. And then the last way that I like to use Instagram stories is for teasers. And so maybe you get a box of inventory in, and you can show the outside of the box and say, hey, I'm going to be doing a Facebook Live or an unboxing later, or make sure to check my account later for, I'm going to talk about what my new products or services are. So I like to use Instagram stories for teasers, for things that are coming up, because again, they don't have to be formal. They can be very informal and very fast and don't take a lot of time. So those are the 5 Instagram story types that I like to use. So if you are here and you have any questions about Instagram stories, I am here to answer your questions. So if you are watching the replay and you have questions about Instagram stories, I do always come back and answer questions. I also want to remind you guys that we do have our Content Assist membership available. We announced a new price, so it is $20 a month. At $20 a month, you get 30 images, you get 30 captions and prompts, you get 2 video or their GIF-like videos, you get training every month. There's a ton of stuff that comes with that. And I showed you in one of the earlier examples that I really love to use our Content Assist photos that we get for our Instagram stories. And I'm gonna show you an example of that. And like I said, if you're here and you have questions, please let me know, because I really, really love Instagram stories. I think that Instagram stories are starting to really get saturated, and I've been using them for about a year, and they are really great at driving traffic for our business. I see a huge increase in driving traffic for our business through Instagram stories. I have built some great relationships through Instagram stories. So if you have been thinking about using Instagram stories, you absolutely should be using Instagram stories. So I'm just gonna add this real quick. When you are sharing to your Facebook, does it automatically go to your biz page? Yep, it does. But it goes in a weird place. It goes on the Facebook story section, and it's not always easy to get there. But yes, it automatically goes once you connect it. All right, so that is the link to our Content Assist. I'm going to show you real quick how we repurpose this. So this is one of our images that I posted on Instagram stories. And so we have a breakfast theme this month. And I really love these. I think are my favorite photos. And so you can see how I just overlaid text here to talk about it. So it just kind of adds some interest when you can add some photographs behind the text that you have on your Instagram story. So I really like to use like some nice photography, and it just adds a little bit of polish there. Okay. And then I just want to show you guys some samples. Kyle, I totally agree. Your tip and hashtags locations is huge. It drives up my story views. Yes. Thank you for reminding me. So Kyle is reminding me that one of the tips that I gave about Instagram stories is that you can actually add hashtags and locations to your Instagram stories. And this will absolutely help to drive more eyeballs on your content. So if you are in a location, so for instance, I live in Phoenix. So if I add Phoenix to my Instagram story, I'm going to get a ton more views. And remember, the more views, the more eyeballs on your content, the better chance that you are going to be able to interact with people. So add locations, add hashtags to your Instagram stories, because it will help get more engagement and more eyeballs on your content. So this is an example of our Content Assist membership. So each month, like I said, you get 30 images, you get 30 social media captions and prompts, you get 2 GIF-like videos, you get a content calendar, and you get a content action guide. So for $20 a month, you basically have all of your social media done for you. That's a deal. Like it's probably not priced high enough, but right now we're offering it for $20 a month or $199 a year. So all of your content for the entire year for $199. And then I just wanted to show you how we repurpose some of this. So when you get the photographs, you can use them like I showed for an Instagram story. You can use them on Facebook. You can use them as your headers. You can use them in your emails, on your blogs. They are yours to use anywhere that you want. And I don't know if you have ever looked at like a stock photography membership or something like that, but they can be quite expensive. Photos can cost, I know, anywhere from like $1 in Canva to, thousands of dollars actually, if you go through something like Getty Images or something like that. And then I was actually talking to an attorney today, and you have to be really, really careful about the images that you're using on social media, because a lot of images are copyrighted. So you cannot go out and Google, that you want an image of coffee and then just grab that image off the internet and put it on your Facebook page or your blog or your website, because that leaves you open to being sued by the person who owns that copyright. So a lot of people don't realize that you just can't go out and use any photo out there. And I've even heard that some of the free stock photo sites aren't always safe. And so you need to be really careful about where you are getting your images that you are using on Instagram, you're using on your Instagram stories, on your websites, and things like that. So for $20 a month, you are getting these royalty free, which means you get to use these images for whatever you want. You're not going to get sued. We are allowing you to use these images for whatever you want. You're not going to get sued because you are infringing on somebody's copyright. So I just wanted to make sure that people understand that you can't go out and use any image that you find out there on the internet, because it's likely that somebody holds that copyright. You have to be really careful, even with the free stock photography sites. It's just safer to purchase photos for your business, either to have a photographer take them for you, or to find a stock photo site like ours or something like Shutterstock where you are paying for the image. So you have the right to use the image, so you're not going to get sued by the person that owns the copyright. So like I said, you can use these images on Instagram, on Facebook. You can repurpose them. You can zoom in, you can zoom out. And there's all sorts of ways that you can do. I just kind of showed some examples here of how you can repurpose them. I designed all of these in Canva, which I love Canva. It's the best. But let me know if you have any questions on that. And then as far as the captions that you get every month, this is a caption sample. And we write all of these, me and my team, we have all been in marketing for 15 years or more. And so we know what kind of captions are going to get engagement and what kind of things that you can say in certain ways. So for instance, in this one, that you are talking about where your business is, what you do, and something personal to help build that know, like, and trust factor. So all of these captions that we send you every month can be customized, personalized, but they are written in a strategic and intentional manner to get engagement and to build that know, like, and trust factor. So we have strategy behind everything that we're writing, and then you can personalize it to your business. Angela's saying she needs to learn hashtags. Angela, I'm glad you said that, because our next training is going to be on hashtags. Now, I haven't announced it yet because we are making some changes, and I will announce those next week. But yes, our next training is going to be on hashtags. So make sure that you come back and check out what's going on. And we are going to talk about hashtags and how to use them and how to find them, because hashtags are a wonderful way to grow your exposure and your business on Instagram. So now I just wanted to show a prompt sample. So every single month you get 30 prompts that are going to help you think about what you could be talking about with your business that month. And again, we are writing these from the perspective of we've been in marketing for over 15 years, and we know ways to strategically and intentionally post to help build that know, like, and trust factor so that you can start selling. So each month you get these 30 prompts and captions, and they coordinate with the images that we're sending out. Like I said, you also get the content calendar and a content action plan. If you join at our yearly level, so it's $199 a year, then you also get some bonuses. So you get training with me every single month. So every single month, we're going to dive into a marketing topic, like a deep dive. So not like these free trainings that I do, but these are deep dive things that are going to teach you. So for instance, last month, we talked about defining your ideal client. We went through an exercise to help you do that. I am available to answer your questions. And then you got a workbook. So you walked away with your personas defined. This month, we're going to talk about building your brand. And again, it's going to be an in-depth lesson, and you're going to get a workbook with it. And so every single month, we're teaching you how to be a better marketer and how to grow and market your business. So if you sign up at the yearly level, you get those bonuses. So you get the training every month. You get access to our VIP Facebook group. So there's a great group of ladies in there. We trade ideas. I go live in that group and answer questions every other week to help to make sure that you're using everything and you're not getting stuck in your business and learning how to market your business in the correct way. And then you get archive access for as long as you're a member. So there's some great bonuses if you sign up for the yearly version. So that link is in the caption here. You can navigate over there and check it out. You can take a look at this sample as well for our Content Assist membership. So if you guys have any other questions, let me know. Like I said, I always come back and check questions. So if you are watching this on the replay and you have questions about either Content Assist or you have questions about Instagram stories, please feel free to ask them. And of course, follow me over on Instagram because I post on Instagram stories all the time. So you can kind of see what I do. Like I said, I post a lot of tutorials on Instagram stories about how to use Instagram better. I like to post mostly about Instagram on Instagram just because if people are on it, that's what they probably use. So make sure you check us out over there. We are nb_and_ns on Instagram. I'll post the link in the comments here so you can check that out. So thank you to everyone who came today. I hope you walked away with some tips and start using those Instagram stories. Have a great rest of your week.